Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is directed by Christopher McQuarrie and is the 7th installment in the Mission Impossible franchise. In Dead Reckoning Part 1 we follow Ethan Hunt and the IMF once again. They are on the hunt for a weapon that is a threat to humanity, and in the wrong hands could be of even more dire consequence. Before seeing this film I had only seen 3 other films in the franchise. I really like Ghost Protocol. Rogue Nation is my favourite of the franchise. I know a lot of people loved Fallout, but I honestly wasn't big on it. I was quite disappointed in Fallout. But saying that, I was still excited for Dead Reckoning Part 1. Let's start with my main draw to this film, Tom Cruise. I've got to say, I am a huge Tom Cruise fan. The man is the most dedicated actor in Hollywood in my opinion. Tom Cruise cares about what he does, and that is once again shown here. Tom Cruise gives every ounce of himself to this role. Yes, of course, the stunts are insane. I love watching Tom Cruise do what Tom Cruise does best. Risk death for my entertainment. You can tell not just him but Christopher McQuarrie are dedicated to showing that it is him doing them, and that just makes the stunts so much more exciting. However, Tom Cruise gives a very good performance here. Ethan Hunt has personal stakes he has to deal with, and Tom Cruise deals with those really well. And in terms of other cast members, Hayley Atwell is a fantastic new addition. I was completely engaged with her character, and she has really great chemistry with Tom Cruise as well. And there are so many action sequences here that are really exciting to watch. There is honestly a good portion of the first act that is the best thing I've ever seen in a Mission Impossible film. I genuinely think a lot of the action sequences here are a masterclass in directing action scenes. The energy, the editing, it is fantastic. And the screenwriters do something really interesting with this film. This film feels way more modern than other Mission Impossible films. I don't want to give it away, but the big threat in this film is very relevant to a lot of things going on in the world today. And that's even more impressive considering this script was written probably 4 years ago. However, I also think there's a silliness to this film that isn't present in the other films. But I mean that as a compliment. That works really well here. One of my big worries going into this film is that it's nearly 2 hours and 45 minutes long. I've got to say, for the most part, the pacing is fantastic. It really does not feel that long. It does fly by. As I said earlier, there are a lot of really exciting action sequences, but I do think there are a few, mainly in the second act, that aren't quite as exciting as I wanted them to be. That's because they can feel a little low energy, and those are just more obvious compared to when the action is really exciting. In terms of the script, I think it develops the lead characters really well. They have growth, they have arcs, but I think some of the side characters, mainly the villain ones, aren't quite as fleshed out as I wanted them to be. Don't get me wrong, I didn't need a whole backstory on them, but I just would have liked to understand their motivation a little more. And also, while I said this film's pacing is mostly excellent, I do think it's around 5 to 10 minutes too long. During the final 10 minutes, there were so many points where I thought it was going to end, but then it kept going. Okay, I think it's going to end now. No, okay, it's still going. Overall, it's not my favourite of the franchise, but I had a pretty fun time watching Dead Reckoning Part 1. And I've got to say, I'm very intrigued to see where they go with Part 2. I'm going to give Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 a B. Have you seen Mission Impossible 7? Did you love it? Did you hate it? If you haven't seen it, you're looking forward to it, let me know below. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. You guys were awesome. Blu-ray Billy, logging off.